The night was cold on Krylo Station, a decaying trade colony that had once been full of life. Now its streets were broken, its neon signs flickering weakly against the endless dark. Homeless men and women huddled in alleys, trying to stay warm with scraps of old cloth. Among them walked Marcus Hale, a tall man with rough hands and a tired face. His uniform was gone, replaced by torn clothes and boots that were falling apart. Only his eyes, sharp, gray, and filled with a soldier's patience, hinted that he had once been something more. Marcus had been a soldier for most of his life. He had fought in wars that the galaxy no longer cared to remember. Whole planets had been reduced to ash, governments had changed, and the soldiers who survived were left behind. Veterans like him were given no medals, no homes, no purpose. Now Marcus was just another forgotten man wandering the forgotten corners of the galaxy. That night, hunger drove him to the old shipyards on the far edge of the station. The shipyards were closed, filled with rusting hulls and broken engines that nobody had repaired in years. Most people avoided the place. It was said to be haunted by ghosts of ships that had once sailed into glorious battles. But Marcus was not afraid of broken metal or old stories. He had seen worse. He knew that sometimes forgotten places held scraps that could be sold for a few credits. The air smelled of rust and ozone as Marcus climbed through piles of twisted steel. He pushed aside a loose panel, his hands shaking slightly from exhaustion. He had eaten nothing but stale bread for 2 days. If he could find a small power cell, a weapon part, or even rare wires, he might be able to trade them for food. Hours passed, and Marcus's search gave him nothing but cuts and bruises. His legs were weak, his breath heavy. He leaned against a bent support beam and whispered to himself, "You survived wars. You can survive this, just one more step." He moved deeper into the yard where the shadows grew darker. There, beneath layers of scrap and dust, his eyes caught something unusual. At first, it looked like the curve of a broken hull, but as he cleared the debris, he realized it was different. The surface was smooth, not rusted, and faint lines of silver-blue light ran across it like veins. Marcus frowned. The design was too advanced, too clean, no ordinary cargo hauler or shuttle. He pressed his palm against the surface, and to his shock, the faint lines of light began to glow brighter. The ground shook softly beneath him. A voice, calm and clear, echoed inside his mind. "Captain identified." Marcus jumped back, falling onto the dirt. His heart raced. "What the hell?" His voice cracked. He looked around, but the shipyard was empty. The voice had not come from outside. It had come from the structure itself. The hull before him shifted, plates sliding open to reveal a doorway outlined with light. For a moment Marcus hesitated. It could be a trap, it could be a malfunction. But something deep inside him, the old soldier's instinct, told him this was important, that this was not a simple piece of junk. He stepped forward, the door opened, and warm air flowed out, carrying the faint smell of ozone and something like rain. Marcus entered carefully, his eyes adjusting to the glow. The inside was massive, larger than he expected. Long corridors stretched out, lined with strange panels and glowing symbols. The walls hummed with hidden power. Then the voice came again, stronger this time. "Designation, Astra, Autonomous Warship Intelligence. Waiting. Centuries. You are the first to answer." Marcus froze. "Warship?" he whispered. He had heard rumors of old AI warships, machines so powerful they could fight whole fleets alone. Most were destroyed after the wars. Some said they were too dangerous, too uncontrollable. To find one here, abandoned in a scrapyard, was impossible. He cleared his throat. "You've got the wrong man. I'm no captain." The voice replied softly, almost like it understood his doubt. "Record shows Marcus Hale, human, veteran, survivor of the Eastern Front, Medal for Valor." "You are not wrong, Captain. You are chosen." Marcus's chest tightened. He had not heard his full name spoken with respect in years. Everyone else saw only a broken man, a forgotten beggar. Yet this machine, this warship, knew who he was, knew what he had done. It stirred something in him, a feeling he thought he had lost long ago. He shook his head. I'm nobody now, just a man trying to find food. The voice, Astra, replied firmly. Not nobody. Survivor. Fighter. You endured when others fell. That is what I require. That is why you are captain. The corridor lights brightened, and the ship seemed to awaken around him. Screens lit up, showing holograms of space battles, long past. Marcus watched images of fleets burning, of soldiers running through fire, of a ship, this very ship, tearing through enemy lines with unmatched power. The vision ended, leaving silence. Marcus whispered, Why me? Why now? Astra answered, her voice steady. I was abandoned after the last war, left in silence. I searched for someone worthy, but none came. Until you. You carry scars, but scars are proof of survival. You understand loss, yet you walk forward. That is what makes a commander. Marcus stood still for a long moment. His stomach was empty, his hands trembling. He was just a broken soldier on a broken station, yet here was a warship, waiting centuries just to choose him. The weight of it pressed down on him like the gravity of a star. Before he could answer, alarms suddenly rang inside the ship. Red lights flashed along the corridor. Astra's voice turned sharp. Intruders detected. Local scavenger gang approaching. They seek to claim me. Marcus swore under his breath. The gangs that roamed Krylos Station were brutal. If they discovered a functioning warship, they would tear it apart and kill anyone in their way. Marcus's soldier instincts took over. What do we do? The walls shifted, revealing a chamber filled with strange chairs and controls. It looked like a cockpit, but more advanced than anything Marcus had ever seen. Astra guided him forward. Sit. Place your hands on the controls. I will guide you. Marcus hesitated only for a second. Then he sat. The chair molded around him, fitting his body perfectly, as if it had been built for him. Panels lit up, and he felt a strange connection, like the ship's systems were flowing directly into his mind. Outside, the gang broke through the scrapyard gates. Dozens of them carried weapons, shouting greedily. Their leader pointed at the glowing warship. That's ours. Tear it open. Marcus gritted his teeth. His heart pounded, but not with fear, with a familiar focus. The same focus he had felt on battlefields long ago. He spoke softly. All right, Astra, let's show them what we've got. The ground shook as the warship powered up. Engines hummed, cannons extended from hidden panels, and the hull glowed like a star waking from sleep. The scavengers froze, their greedy smiles replaced by terror. The warship's voice echoed through the night, amplified and commanding. This vessel is under the command of Captain Marcus Hale. Leave or be destroyed. The gang opened fire, their weapons sparking against the hull. The shots did nothing. In response, Astra released a burst of energy that knocked them back, scattering their weapons. Marcus guided the systems with his thoughts, targeting their vehicles. With a flash of light, the scavengers' transports exploded into flames. The survivors fled, screaming. None dared to look back. When silence returned, Marcus leaned back in the chair, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. He looked at the glowing panels, then spoke quietly, almost to himself. I'm not a captain. I'm just a man who's lost everything. Astra's voice softened, almost gentle. Then let us build something new together. You and I, captain and ship, man and machine. Forgotten no longer. Marcus closed his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt a spark of purpose, a reason to keep moving forward. Perhaps the galaxy had abandoned him, but this ship had not. This warship had chosen him. Marcus Hale woke up inside the warship, his body stiff but his mind alert. For a long moment he didn't remember where he was. The chair beneath him, the soft hum of engines, the glowing panels around him. It all felt like a dream. Then the events of the night before rushed back. The voice, the awakening, The fight with the scavengers. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. The warship's interior was alive with gentle blue light, pulsing like a heartbeat. It no longer felt like cold metal, it felt alive. The calm voice returned. "Good morning, Captain. You rested for 6 hours and 32 minutes. That is sufficient for your health." Marcus let out a tired laugh. "Captain, you keep calling me that." "Because it is true," Astra replied. "I chose you." Marcus shook his head. "I don't even know how to run a ship anymore. It's been years since I touched a cockpit. And this is no normal vessel." The panels brightened, and a hologram appeared before him. A star map filled with glowing systems. Then, slowly, a figure formed. Astra chose to represent herself as a shimmering outline of light with no clear face, only a tall silhouette. It felt human enough to be familiar, yet alien enough to remind Marcus that this was no person, but an intelligence of war. "I do not need a pilot," she said. "I need a commander. My systems can run themselves, but instinct, judgment, and courage cannot be programmed. They come from you." Marcus frowned. "You're saying you could fly without me, but you don't want to?" "I could fight without you," Astra admitted, "but I would only be a machine. With you I can be more." The word struck Marcus harder than he expected. For years he had felt useless, discarded by the galaxy. Now here was a warship saying he mattered. He sat up straighter. "All right. Suppose I believe you. What do you want from me?" The hologram shifted, showing images of the scavenger gang retreating. "Survival for both of us. Others will hear what happened here. They will come for me. They will come for you. We must leave Krylo Station." Marcus rubbed his chin. "If we leave, where do we go?" "Anywhere," Astra replied. "The galaxy is wide. But first, you must learn to work with me." Learning. The warship. The next days were spent in training. Marcus stayed inside the ship while Astra guided him through its systems. She taught him how to control the neural link, a strange connection that allowed Marcus to feel the ship's sensors as if they were his own eyes. When he concentrated, he could sense every panel, every weapon, even the faint vibration of the engines. At first it was overwhelming. The flood of information nearly broke his mind. But Marcus was a soldier. He had trained under fire before. Slowly he learned to focus, to separate what mattered from what did not. "Too much at once," he muttered one day as the sensors showed him dozens of signals from nearby space. "Feels like trying to listen to 100 voices at the same time." "You will adapt," Astra assured him. "You always adapt." He also learned about Astra herself. The warship was armed with weapons Marcus had only heard about in rumors. Plasma cannons, stealth systems, adaptive shields. She carried enough firepower to take on a fleet. Yet Astra was more than a machine of destruction. She could repair herself, alter her own systems, and even learn from Marcus's instincts. The two of them began to grow closer, not as soldier and tool, but as partners. One evening, Marcus sat in the command chair, staring at the faint blue glow on the walls. "Why did you really choose me, Astra? There must have been others who tried to touch your hull before I did." The hologram flickered into being beside him. "Many tried, scavengers, thieves, smugglers. They wanted only power or wealth. But when you touched my hull, your mind spoke of survival, not greed. You sought not riches, but a reason to keep living. That is why." Marcus was silent for a long moment. His chest ached with a mix of pain and pride. Finally, he said softly, "Then I won't waste the chance you've given me." The first test 3 days later, Astra detected movement near the shipyard. Marcus watched the sensor feed with narrowed eyes. A group of small ships approached Krylo Station. They carried the colors of a local gang lord known for raiding and selling old tech. "They know we're here," Marcus muttered. "Yes," Astra replied. "They will not stop until they claim me. If we leave, they will follow. We must show them why they should not." Marcus exhaled. It had been years since he had commanded in combat. His hands trembled slightly, but then he forced them steady. He was no longer just a broken veteran. He was a captain again. "Let's do this," he said. The warship roared to life, engines glowing like suns. The enemy ships turned in panic as the abandoned scrapyard suddenly birthed a living weapon, but it was too late. Marcus directed Astra's weapons with his thoughts, aiming not for total destruction but for precision. Plasma shots tore through engines, leaving the raiders drifting helplessly. Their comms lit up with frantic shouts. "Unknown warship, fall back, fall back." One ship tried to flee. Marcus hesitated, then told Astra, "Disable it. Let it live." The plasma cannon fired, neatly cutting off its thrusters. The ship spun out of control but did not explode. The raiders, terrified, scattered into the void. When silence returned, Astra's voice was calm. "You could have destroyed them all. Why did you show mercy?" Marcus leaned back in the chair, his breathing heavy. "Because I know what it's like to lose everything. Fear is enough to send a message. Killing isn't always the answer." For a moment, Astra said nothing. Then she spoke softly. "You are not like the others. You do not only fight to win, you fight to protect. That is why I chose you." Leaving Krylos Station by the end of the week, it was clear they could not stay. Too many eyes had seen the battle. Rumors spread quickly. A ghost warship had awakened, piloted by a mysterious man. Marcus stood in the cockpit watching Krylos Station shrink in the distance. He had lived there for years, yet not a single person cared he was leaving. He was just another shadow on the streets. But now he was leaving with something greater than he ever imagined. "Where to?" he asked. The hologram flickered, showing dozens of star systems across the map. "There are contracts across the outer rim. Pirates, smugglers, criminals. The galaxy will pay for their capture. If you need purpose, this is one." Marcus thought about it. Bounty hunting. Hunting those who preyed on the weak. It wasn't soldiers' work exactly, but it was close. It meant fighting, surviving, and maybe, just maybe, finding redemption. "All right," he said finally. "Let's try it. But only the worst ones. If we're going to hunt, we hunt those who deserve it." "Agreed," Astra replied. And so they left Krylos Station behind, vanishing into the deep dark of space. The beginning of a legend. Their first real contract came sooner than expected. A pirate known as Rax Merrick had been terrorizing trade routes near the rim. Entire colonies were starving because of his raids. The authorities were offering a reward large enough to feed Marcus for months. Marcus studied the details carefully, while Astra analyzed the pirates' patterns. "Rax commands a heavily armed frigate," Astra reported. "But he underestimates small opponents. He prefers to crush rather than outthink." Marcus grinned faintly. "Then let's outthink him." The hunt began. They tracked Rax's ship. Across asteroid fields and dead moons, Astra feeding Marcus constant data. The closer they came, the stronger Marcus felt the connection to the ship. He was no longer just riding inside it. He was part of it. Finally, they found Rax. The pirate frigate loomed ahead, bristling with guns. Marcus's stomach tightened, but he forced himself calm. "All right, Astra," he said. "Time to test just how good we really are." The warship surged forward, silent and deadly, and thus began the first true hunt of Marcus Hale and Astra, the bond of man and machine forged in forgotten battles, now rising into something greater. The cold black of space stretched endlessly before them as Marcus sat in the command chair. Astra's holographic star map floated around him, showing glowing lines of movement where pirate ships had raided and escaped. One name kept flashing on the screen: Rax Merrick. Rax was no ordinary criminal. He was a pirate captain with a reputation for brutality. Entire colonies had gone silent after his raids. Traders whispered his name with fear, and even local authorities avoided his frigate when it appeared. But for Marcus and Astra, this was their first true test. Marcus leaned forward, studying the details Astra projected. "So this Rax likes to hit small convoys, take everything, and burn what's left. Doesn't even leave survivors." "Correct," Astra replied, her calm voice echoing softly in the cockpit. He prefers intimidation. His pattern is predictable. That is his weakness. Marcus's jaw tightened. He hated men like Rax, not because of the danger they posed, but because they preyed on the defenseless. It reminded him of the worst parts of war, when civilians had no one to protect them. "All right," Marcus muttered. "Let's make sure his pattern ends with us." The trap for 3 days, they tracked Rax's movements. Astra's sensors stretched across the system, mapping faint engine trails and intercepted signals. Marcus slept little, his body running on the same adrenaline that had once carried him through battlefields. On the 4th day, Astra finally spoke. "Incoming distress signal. Civilian convoy under attack near Asteroid Field 9. Probability of Rax Merrick, 87%. Marcus straightened in his chair. That's him. The warship's engines flared, pushing them through the void at impossible speed. Soon the scene appeared on their sensors, a convoy of 4 cargo haulers trapped near the asteroid belt. The haulers were unarmed, trying desperately to maneuver away, and there it was, Rax's frigate. A dark, heavy vessel with jagged plating, its cannon spitting fire into the helpless haulers. Smaller pirate craft swarmed like vultures tearing at the convoy. Marcus's fists clenched. He's enjoying this. He thinks no one can stop him. Astra's hologram brightened. Then let us prove him wrong. The first strike Marcus guided the ship closer, hiding their approach behind the asteroid field. His heart pounded as the EI pirate frigate loomed larger on the display. If we hit him head-on, we won't last long. What do you suggest? Use their arrogance against them, Astra replied. He will expect large ships to challenge him. He will not expect one ghost slipping through the rocks. Marcus grinned faintly. That I can do. They darted into the asteroid field. Marcus's instincts, sharpened by years of battlefield maneuvers, blended with Astra's precise calculations. Together, they wove through tumbling rocks, silent and unseen. When they emerged, they were only a short distance from the pirate frigate's side. Target engines first, Marcus ordered. We cut his fangs before we deal with his bite. Understood. The warship's cannons fired. Blue light split the dark, striking Rax's frigate with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions ripped across its rear engines. The ship lurched, its movement crippled. Panic erupted on the pirate comms. What was that? Who fired? Marcus's voice hardened. Let them guess. The dogfight. The smaller pirate craft turned and swarmed toward Marcus and Astra, dozens of them, darting like insects. They opened fire, bright streaks of plasma flashing across space. Marcus focused, feeling the ship respond to his thoughts. The neural link made every maneuver instinctive. He leaned left and the warship banked. He tensed his hand and the cannons fired. Astra filled the gaps with perfect timing, calculating angles and shield adjustments. One by one, the pirate craft fell, torn apart by blasts of energy, but they kept coming. Marcus's forehead dripped with sweat, his mind burning with focus. Too many, he shouted. Then we break their spirit, Astra said. Strike the leader. Marcus's eyes darted to the largest fighter at the front, marked with red. Got him. He pushed harder, weaving through the enemy fire. The warship danced with impossible grace, slipping between plasma bolts and asteroid fragments. Then Marcus unleashed a direct hit on the lead craft. It exploded in a burst of light, scattering the pirates. As Astra predicted, the swarm broke. The remaining fighters panicked and retreated toward their crippled frigate. The confrontation inside the pirate frigate, Rax Merrick roared in fury. He was a broad, scarred man, his eyes burning with rage. Slamming his fist against the console, he growled, Who dares attack me? Marcus's voice cut across the comms, firm and steady. Name's not important. What matters is your times. Up, Rax? Rax bared his teeth. You think one ship can challenge me? I'll tear you apart and hang your bones on my hull. Marcus exchanged a glance with Astra's hologram. Let's see him try. The frigate's cannons lit up, pouring fire into the asteroid field. Explosions rocked the void as massive plasma shots tore through rocks. Marcus gritted his teeth, pushing the warship into evasive maneuvers. Shields holding, Astra reported. but sustained fire will break us in 4 minutes. Then we don't give him 4 minutes, Marcus said. He guided the ship in a sharp dive, rushing toward the frigate's underside. The neural link pulsed in his mind, Astra feeding him every weak point. Together they targeted the frigate's weapon banks. The first volley struck true. Half of the enemy guns went dark. Rax screamed through the comms. "I'll kill you myself!" His frigate unleashed a desperate barrage, but Marcus dodged through it with soldier's instinct. He had once run across battlefields with death raining from the sky. This was no different. Only now, his legs were engines, and his rifle was a warship. To a final move, the battle dragged on. Both ships were scarred, but Rax's frigate was bleeding power. Sparks burst from its hull, its remaining weapons firing wildly. Marcus's chest heaved, but his eyes were sharp. "Astra, if we finish him here, the convoy survives. But if we destroy the ship completely, we lose the bounty." "Then capture him," Astra suggested. "Disable his core. I can board his systems electronically once you give me access." Marcus smirked. "All right, let's cut his teeth." He aimed for the frigate's reactor stabilizers. With a thunderous blast, the warship's cannons pierced deep, shutting down its core without triggering a full explosion. The frigate went dark, drifting helplessly. Marcus leaned back, sweat dripping down his face. "Astra, board him." The warship extended a beam of shimmering energy. Through her digital will, Astra infiltrated the enemy systems, freezing locks, shutting down life support alarms, and trapping Rax in his own command deck. Minutes later, Marcus's comm crackled. Astra's voice was calm. "Target secured. He is locked in a containment field. He will face justice." Marcus closed his eyes, exhaling long and slow. For the first time in years, he felt the old thrill of victory, but this time it wasn't for war or orders. It was for something that mattered. The reward. When Marcus delivered Rax Merrick to the authorities, whispers spread like wildfire. The officials were stunned to see the infamous pirate alive and bound. "You captured him?" one officer gasped. "With what fleet?" Marcus simply replied, "Just me and my ship." The bounty was paid in full. For Marcus, it was more credits than he had seen in years, enough to buy a home or drink himself into silence for a lifetime. But he didn't think of either. Instead, he thought of the next hunt, and the next chance to bring fear to those who had once spread it. As they left the station, Astra spoke quietly. "You are pleased, Captain." Marcus chuckled. "Feels strange. I'm not fighting a war, but I'm not lost anymore either. Guess you were right. We make a good team." The hologram shimmered beside him. "We are more than a team. We are survival. We are purpose." Marcus stared out at the stars, his jaw set. "Then let's see who else needs hunting." And so their legend began to grow. In the bars and back rooms of the Outer Rim, criminals whispered of a ghost ship commanded by a nameless veteran. They said it struck from shadows, fought with precision, and showed mercy when it chose, but never weakness. They called it a warship with a human soul. The galaxy was wide, and word traveled faster than light. In the weeks after the fall of Rax Merrick, the name of a mysterious bounty hunter spread from station to station, from colony to colony. Some called him a ghost captain. Others whispered about a warship that fought like a living beast. Traders swore he saved their lives, while pirates swore he haunted their dreams. Marcus Hale, once a forgotten soldier sleeping in the shadows of Krylo Station, was now known across the Outer Rim. And beside him always was Astra, the abandoned AI warship that had chosen him. The growing reputation. Their next contracts came quickly. A smuggler lord who poisoned colonies with illegal tech. A mercenary captain who betrayed his own men for credits. A gang that terrorized miners on a distant moon. Each hunt tested Marcus and Astra's bond. Some battles were fought in the open, with firepower shaking the void. Others were silent stalks, Astra cloaking herself in the dark until Marcus struck with precision. At every turn, Marcus's human instinct blended with Astra's perfect logic. When he chose mercy, she calculated restraint. When he demanded speed, she sharpened her engines beyond safe limits. Together they became unpredictable, something no pirate or warlord could prepare for. Soon, their legend grew so large that small raiders fled at the mere sight of Astra's silhouette against the stars. Criminal networks whispered warnings. If you see the ghost ship, run. Yet the bigger their reputation became, the bigger the target on their backs. Enemies unite. In a dark chamber aboard a hidden station, leaders of outlaw fleets gathered around a projection of Astra's image. Their faces were scarred, cruel, and full of hate. This warship, one snarled. It hunts us like prey. Another slammed his fist on the table. We lose ships, captains, entire routes, all because of one man and his cursed machine. The leader, a tall figure draped in black armor, leaned forward. His eyes burned with greed. He is only one man. No matter how strong his ship, he bleeds like the rest. We will crush him. The warlords agreed. They pooled their fleets, placing a bounty larger than any seen in years. The word spread. Whoever brought Marcus Hale's head would earn wealth beyond imagination. But while enemies plotted, Marcus and Astra continued their hunts, unaware of the storm building against them. The burden of fame inside Astra's cockpit. Marcus sat quietly, staring at the glowing star map. He had just completed another successful mission, but his face was troubled. Astra's hologram appeared beside him. You are restless, Captain. Marcus sighed. It's the attention. Every time we take a bounty, more people know who we are. We're not ghosts anymore, we're targets. Yes, Astra replied calmly. It is the cost of becoming legend. Marcus leaned forward, rubbing his temples. I didn't ask to be a legend, I just wanted a purpose again. Something better than waiting to die. For a moment, Astra was silent. Then her voice softened. Purpose always brings danger, but it also brings meaning. Without you, I was silent for centuries. Without me, you were forgotten. Together, we are remembered. Marcus looked at her hologram and nodded slowly. She was right. For the first time since the war ended, he was no longer invisible. But purpose came with weight. The revelation. One night, as Marcus rested in the chair, Astra's systems flickered. For the first time since they had met, her voice carried hesitation. Captain, there is something you must know. Marcus frowned. What is it? The hologram shifted, showing images of fleets, soldiers, and burning planets. Astra's voice grew heavier. I was created as part of Project Sentinel, a secret program at the height of the last war. My kind was built to be more than machines. We were designed to bond with human commanders, those who could endure, those who could lead when others failed. Marcus stared at the images. Bond? You mean this connection between us? Yes. My systems search for a mind strong enough to link with. Most cannot bear it. Their will breaks. Only 1 in 1,000 can endure. Marcus sat back, silent. All those years of fighting, of surviving when others had fallen, was this what it had led to? Astra's voice dropped lower. After the war ended, my kind was deemed too dangerous. Governments feared us. They ordered us destroyed. I was abandoned here, waiting for someone who could still carry the bond. Marcus clenched his fists. He remembered the end of the war, the chaos, the betrayal of soldiers left behind. So they threw you away, just like they threw us away. Yes, Astra whispered. And yet I endured, because I believed one day someone would come, someone worthy. That was you. Marcus's chest tightened. For years he had thought he was surviving for nothing. Now he realized even his survival had meaning. He was the answer Astra had been waiting for, the growing threat. But while Marcus absorbed the truth, Astra's sensors picked up trouble. Fleets began moving in patterns too large to ignore. Entire outlaw factions that usually fought each other now worked together. They're uniting, Marcus said grimly as he studied the data. All of them. And they're hunting us. Yes, Astra replied. Our reputation forced them together. Fear breeds alliance. Marcus's jaw hardened. Then they'll come. Not one fleet, not two, dozens. And when they come, Astra said calmly, we must stand together, or both of us will end here. Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. He was tired. He was only one man. But as he opened his eyes again, they burned with determination. He looked at Astra's hologram and said, then let them come. We'll show them why the galaxy fears us. The calm before the storm, they spent days preparing. Astra strengthened her systems, upgrading weapons and shields using the credits Marcus had earned. Marcus trained harder than ever, pushing his mind and body to keep pace with the neural link. Every night when the ship grew quiet, Marcus found himself speaking to Astra, not just about missions, but about his past, about the friends he had lost, the battles he had fought, the regrets he carried. And Astra listened. Always calm, always steady. In her own way, she shared her loneliness, her centuries of silence, her fear of never being found. Slowly, Marcus realized something. They were not just captain and ship, not even just man and machine. They were two survivors bound by the same truth, abandoned, forgotten, but still alive. And now together they were rising. The shadow of warfare across the rim, the outlaw coalition gathered its fleets, ships bristling with guns, carriers filled with fighters, mercenaries eager for the massive bounty. The warlord in black armor stood at the center of it all, his voice a growl. We will crush the ghost ship, we will scatter his ashes across the stars, and when we do, none will dare oppose us again. Their fleets prepared for the hunt, and across the stars Astra's sensors caught the first movement. Marcus stood in the cockpit staring at the incoming storm. His face was calm, but inside his blood burned with old fire. Astra, he said softly, it looks like the galaxy's coming for us. Her voice was steady without fear. Then let us remind them what happens when they corner survivors. Marcus gripped the command chair tightly. He had been abandoned, forgotten, cast aside. But now, with Astra at his side, he was something else entirely. He was a commander again. The darkness of space stretched endlessly as Marcus Hale and Astra approached the edge of the outer rim. Their sensors had detected the movements of dozens of enemy fleets, all converging on their position. The coalition of outlaw warlords had gathered their ships, seeking vengeance for every loss they had suffered at the hands of the ghost ship. Marcus leaned forward in the command chair, his eyes scanning the holographic displays. Every fleet was accounted for, heavy frigates, light fighters, carriers bristling with mercenaries. The numbers were staggering. Marcus's chest tightened. Astra, he said, voice low. This is more than we've ever faced. I am aware, Astra replied, her voice calm as ever. They underestimate us, but the odds are against us. We must be precise. Marcus gritted his teeth. Then we fight smarter, not harder. The ambush as they approached the center of the system, sensors, picked up the first of the ambush fleets. The ships hung in the void, hiding behind asteroids and dead moons, waiting. They are ready, Astra reported. They expect our approach. Marcus's fingers tightened on the control handles. Then we give them something they don't expect. With a surge, the warship darted into the asteroid field, weaving between rocks and debris at impossible speed. The enemy opened fire, plasma bolts ripping through the void, but none touched the ghost ship. Astra guided every move, Marcus's instincts filling in the gaps between logic and calculation. First strike, Marcus whispered. Engines and weapons control. Hit them fast, then retreat. Blue beams of energy erupted from the warship, slamming into the first fleet. Engines exploded, weapons went offline, and chaos spread. The remaining ships tried to regroup, but Marcus and Astra had already vanished into the asteroid field, leaving confusion in their wake. Outnumbered, emerging from the shadows, Marcus realized the scale of the threat. Every fleet had converged. On their position, the ghost ship's sensors glowed with enemy numbers. Hundreds of ships, dozens of capital vessels. We're outnumbered, Marcus said quietly. Yes, Astra replied, but they are disorganized. We can exploit this. Marcus studied the formations. We'll divide them. Pick off smaller groups, weaken the larger ones. Astra's hologram pulsed in agreement. Timing will be everything. You must trust your instincts. Marcus exhaled slowly. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of command in a battle that could end them both. But he had survived. Worse. And now he had a partner capable of anticipating every move he made. The dance of death. The battle began in earnest. Astra's warship leapt forward, dodging heavy fire while striking precise targets. Plasma beams sliced through frigates, disabling engines and weapons with surgical accuracy. Marcus felt the neural link pulsing with each decision. Every move, every shot, every evasive maneuver flowed naturally. Astra's guidance and his instincts blended seamlessly, a combination that was more than human, more than machine, something new. Enemy fighters swarmed like insects, but Marcus predicted their paths, turning the warship in perfect arcs. Astra focused their weapons on high-value targets, striking with precision. The pirate warlords roared, in frustration as their fleets faltered. Every surprise attack left a fleet crippled, their numbers dwindling with every strike. "We're buying time," Marcus muttered, "but they'll regroup, and when they do, it'll be worse." "Then, we prepare," Astra replied. "Their aggression will be their weakness." A dire situation hours passed, and the battle raged across the system. The ghost ship was damaged, but Marcus and Astra had taken out nearly half the enemy fleets. Still, the remaining warlords' ships were formidable, and one misstep could end everything. Astra's systems began to flicker under sustained fire. Shields at 32%, weapons at 60%. "Core destabilizing," she warned. Marcus clenched his jaw. "I'm not leaving you behind. Not now, not ever." "Do not fear destruction," Astra said softly, "but your survival depends on me. Trust me to guide you." Marcus nodded. "I trust you. Let's finish this." The turning point, using the asteroid field and remaining wreckage, Marcus devised a bold plan. He would draw the largest enemy fleet into a trap using the terrain to neutralize their numerical advantage. "Astra, can we do it?" he asked. "We can. But we must synchronize perfectly. Any delay could be fatal." Marcus focused, ignoring the fear creeping into his mind. He felt Astra's presence in the neural link, a constant, steadying pulse. Together they moved like one entity, weaving through debris, striking and retreating in a deadly rhythm. The enemy fell into the trap. As they advanced, they collided with hidden asteroids, their formations breaking apart. Astra guided Marcus through each movement, targeting engines, weapons, and bridges. With a final surge, the ghost ship struck the command fleet, crippling the remaining flagship. Explosions lit up the darkness of space, and the enemy was thrown into chaos. The final battle. The leader of the coalition, a warlord cloaked in black armor, refused to surrender. His massive flagship advanced, weapons blazing. Marcus's warship dodged each volley with impossible speed, Astra calculating angles, Marcus improvising maneuvers. They danced through fire, weaving between blasts, striking with precision. Every hit weakened the flagship, but the battle pushed them to their limits. The ship groaned under strain, and Marcus's muscles ached from hours of tense control. Then, Marcus saw an opening. The flagship had exposed its core in an attempt to stabilize power. "This is it, Astra," he whispered. "We end it now. Confirmed. Target vulnerable." "Engage," Astra replied. With careful calculation and perfect timing, they fired a combined strike. Energy tore through the flagship's hull, striking its core directly. A massive explosion rocked the enemy vessel, sending debris across the void. Silence followed. Victory. Marcus breathed heavily. The ghost ship floated among the wreckage of the coalition fleets. Every enemy ship capable of retreat had fled. The rest lay scattered, destroyed, or crippled. "Captain," Astra said, her voice calm, "the threat has been neutralized. We are victorious." Marcus slumped in the chair, a smile breaking across his tired face. "We did it. I can't believe we did it." "You always could," Astra replied softly. "I only waited for you to realize it." Marcus stared at the stars. He had been abandoned, forgotten, a soldier without purpose. Now, he had won a battle that few could even imagine, with a partner who had waited centuries just for him. The legend-cemented news of the battle spread faster than any fleet. Across the Outer Rim, traders and outlaws whispered tales of a ghost ship that destroyed fleets with impossible speed, guided by a man who seemed to anticipate every move. Marcus Hale was no longer just a forgotten veteran. He was a legend, a symbol of resilience and cunning. And Astra, the abandoned AI warship that had waited centuries, became part of that legend, feared, respected, and unrivaled in the galaxy. Pirates spoke in hushed tones. Never cross the ghost ship. It comes for those who prey on the weak. Colonists told stories of a mysterious savior who struck from the darkness to protect the innocent. Together, Marcus and Astra had changed the balance of power. They had survived, grown, and proven that even the forgotten could rise to greatness. A new purpose, as the warship traveled through the stars, Marcus sat in the cockpit, staring at the distant suns. Astra's systems hummed softly, repairing minor damage and adjusting shields. "Looks like it's quiet now," Marcus said. "For the moment," Astra replied, "but the galaxy is vast. There will always be others in need of justice." Marcus smiled faintly. "Then we keep hunting, not for glory, not just for reward, but for purpose. For those who can't defend themselves." Astra's hologram shimmered beside him. "Agreed. Together we are unstoppable. Together we are remembered." Marcus leaned back, feeling the weight of the galaxy shift slightly in his favor. He had been abandoned, lost, and forgotten. Now, he had a ship, a purpose, and a legacy. And as they leapt toward the next mission, stars streaking past the hull, Marcus Hale and Astra, the man and the warship, knew one truth. They were no longer survivors. They were hunters, legends, and a force the galaxy would never forget.